13 WMAZ Morning starts now.
Much cooler this morning and quieter across central Georgia, some 20 degrees cooler. How will that translate into the day ahead? I've got that answer coming up.
We explain how Fulton County's District Attorney's Office closed over 4,000 cases and why they added more to the workload.
There was maybe 5-10 seconds before we had to react. So it came through, maybe lasted maybe 25-30 seconds, and then it just kind of was quiet.
Strong winds yesterday causing damage. You see it in Washington County. We show you how the wind ripped its way through the Duraline plant, taking off the roof. Plus,
first time. So it's going to be special to me because I'm close to home.
The former Dublin high school football player, now turned singer, heads to the Macon City Auditorium. His journey to the stage all coming up on Scene 13.
Good Thursday morning, Central Georgia. You're taking a live look over the city of Dublin. The time is now 6:31 here on this January the 5th. Thank you so much for staying with us. Happy Baby Friday. I'm Wanye Reese. Of course, kids in Bibb County and teachers are going to be heading back to the classroom this morning. Alex, what can they expect?
Yeah, Wanye, a very nice day ahead here in central Georgia. I'm glad they weren't going back yesterday because that was a different story. Man, the kids in Fulton County caught the brunt of it as the storms came through right as schools were starting. 50 degrees, the current number in Lawrence County this morning. The winds are calm there. We got 47 in Macon, 47 in Warner Robins, 50 in Dublin, 48 in Wrightsville, 45 this morning in Sparta, 41 in Monticello, and 49 in Monroe County. But all of these numbers significantly cooler, some 20 to 25 degrees cooler than we were this time yesterday morning. 22 degrees cooler in Forsyth, Macon, Marshallville, 23 degrees cooler in Unadilla, and 18 degrees cooler in Unadilla. We are seeing some fog down to the south and to the east this morning, so if you're headed out towards Savannah, something to be mindful of. But up and down Interstate 75, we're okay, and from Dublin into Macon, we are quite okay as well. Out the door today, look for temperatures into the 60s later on this afternoon. Average high is 59, and we'll have 66 by 2 and 4 p.m., touch 68 somewhere in between there. Sunny skies, a pretty nice day if you ask me, but in the days ahead, the clouds will begin to build back in, and a small sprinkle chance will return just in time for Sunday. I've got Future View here in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Alex. We'll check in with you soon. This morning, we have more on the case of a former Milledgeville officer shot and killed up in Atlanta. 26-year-old Alton Oliver went before a judge for the first time on Tuesday. The Fulton County Sheriff's Office says he'll remain in jail, charged with the death of 24-year-old Deputy James Thomas. Deputy Thomas was found shot and killed in a crashed car early last Thursday morning. Investigators say they don't think the two knew each other, but believe there was some sort of argument before the shooting. Fulton County's District Attorney's Office says that they've closed more than 4,000 cases last year and picked up their workload. District Attorney William Kendall says that's the most at least in the last 5 years. He says they're also handling more warrants and reached out to more than 32,000 crime victims last year. Kendall was appointed DA after former District Attorney George Hartwig suddenly retired in 2021. In addition to cutting down on the court's COVID-19 backlog, Kendall says they're also improving victim advocacy.
It's certainly a group effort, a team effort by the people in this office, and they are the ones that do the majority of the work. You know, I try to instill my philosophies and work ethic and things like that with the people that I work with. But at the end of the day, you know, they're the ones that the majority of the time are in court handling cases, getting them moved and making sure that we're doing the right thing.
Kendall says his office built a joint law enforcement gang task force, what he calls the largest in the state. He says one focus for the new year is following through on the cases created through the task force. Now, we've been following the impact of severe weather we tracked with you this time yesterday morning. One of the areas that got hit the hardest was Washington County. Sheriff Joel Cochran says the destruction happened so fast.
Well, everybody that I've talked to is just been in disbelief and, you know, just in complete shock. However, we're grateful that, you know, God was with us today.
Sheriff Cochran says he brought in off-duty deputies to check on people in neighborhoods like Walden Woods. They do not know whether the winds were from a storm or a tornado just yet. The National Weather Service is headed there today to figure that out. The sheriff estimated that the storm stayed on the ground for a mile to a mile and a half. In Sandersville, strong winds ripped through the Duraline plant on George J. Lyons Parkway, taking off the roof. The factory creates plastic pipes, but their production was put on hold yesterday. Plant manager Russell Sims says this isn't the way that the company planned on starting off the new year.
There was maybe 5-10 seconds before we had to react. So it came through, maybe lasted maybe 25-30 seconds, and then it just kind of was quiet.
He says 75 people were working first shift when they heard the strong winds. They hid in a break room in the middle of the building when the siren started going off. Sheriff Cochran tells us 2 people were hurt inside the plant and 1 person was hurt outside when the wind tipped over his 18-wheeler. They were all taken to the hospital, and Cochran tells us that they are expected to be okay. Meanwhile, Cole Everett sent in a photo of a tree that fell across his driveway in the county. Sheriff Cochran sent us photos of downed power lines and flooding in Washington County. And I want you to check this out. Coming up here, this is going to be the roof of the Duraline plant in Sandersville. We just told you about it, with water pouring in after strong winds broke windows and tore off that roof. A road in Athens collapsed after heavy rain. Athens-Clarke County Police shared these photos on Facebook. I mean, they're just incredible. You can see right there, that's a car that got swallowed up just as the road started to collapse beneath it on Olympic Drive. The street is now closed for repairs. 6:36, more federal money is on its way to Central Georgia for broadband internet expansion. Congress approved more than $10 billion through President Joe Biden's American Rescue Plan to improve high-speed internet access in rural areas. Grants are headed to 4 counties. Twiggs County plans to get more than $8 million. Wheeler County will get $4.8 million. Wilcox nearly $3 million, and Wilkinson more than $2.5 million. The money will provide service for more than 2,500 locations. Governor Brian Kemp announced the grants. Statewide, Georgia is awarding more than $200 million in grants. Well, the Macon Rescue Mission of Middle Georgia plans a major expansion of its campus off of Zebulon Road. Macon-Bibbs Planning and Zoning Commission will discuss the plan on Monday, January the 9th. The faith-based group helps people who've struggled with domestic violence, drugs and alcohol, homelessness, and mental illnesses. The expansion would mean the rescue mission could double their capacity. Plans submitted to the commission say the rescue mission plans to build 8 new homes that would house around 30 people each. They also plan to expand their work development program and their thrift retail store. Plans also include a 10,000 square foot building to house donations, a building where furniture would be restored, and a women's transitional home. Now, we did reach out to the rescue mission for a comment, but they did decline. Looking ahead to Saturday, you can join Bike Walk and Walk with a Doc around Amerson River Park. Registration is at Amerson River Park at 8:45 a.m. The walk starts up 15 minutes later at 9. The walk is free, but organizers are asking you to wear appropriate footwear and bring a bottle of water. You'll get to learn about a current health topic from a healthcare provider, then spend the rest of the hour enjoying a healthy walk and fun conversations. They say they will be set up at the pavilion right next to the playground. Well, coming up, our morning reporter TJ Anthony standing by to show you a former Dublin high school football player that has some performance skills off the field. We share his story. Plus, a 75-year-old Warner Robins hairdresser who overcame health obstacles and started using her story to encourage others. We explain that story coming up next. Time is now 6:38 here on your Thursday morning. And Alex, I believe it's fair to say that we're getting now to like a more typical weather pattern for this time of year.
Yes, we are going to be talking actually just a little warmer than average for January, but at least we're not talking about the 70s or the teens or everything else
toddler
we've seen.
ages.
Exactly. Yeah, so we're going to try to level things out, calm the waters down as we roll on into the middle of January. Here's a live look over downtown. Temperatures, they're in the 40s this morning, 47 the current number here in Macon. Bibb, we've got 49 there in Forsyth, 41 in Monticello, 45 in Milledgeville, and 50 in Dublin this morning. More 50s and 60s down to the south, 40s and 30s up towards the north, and 30s and 20s up in the nation's midsection. At least we are not in Denver, Colorado this morning, where they are at 22 degrees. So the radar picture looks different from yesterday, right? We don't have anything out there across central Georgia. The showers and storms from yesterday have rolled off the coast. They're now over the open Atlantic waters, and they are history for us here in the United States. Just a few showers down between Jacksonville and Orlando this morning, just north of the Tampa area. Now, as we roll through the day today, temperatures will be able to find their way into the 60s across the area. I've got a high about 68 here in Macon, so plenty of sunshine to go around. It's going to feel great outside this afternoon, great for recess, great to spend any amount of time outside. Once we get into the evening tonight, as soon as the sun sets, though, the temperatures, they're going to enter a free fall. Cool some 25 to 30 degrees tomorrow morning, all the way down into the 30s. A few spots might hang on to the 40s, like in Warner Robins. Say 40 degrees or so, 41 in Dublin, 39 in Eastman, and 39 in Wrightsville by 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Then for tomorrow afternoon, A few more clouds, not quite as warm as we're going to be today across the area. Temperatures in the mid to upper 50s across central Georgia, and then into Saturday morning back down into the 30s. Now Saturday is going to be dry. By the time we get to Sunday, though, this weak disturbance is going to be approaching central Georgia from the northwest, but falling apart as it moves in. So I've got a 20% chance of rain there, and that's quite generous, to be honest. It's not entirely a sure bet that we're going to see rain. Quiet for Monday, and then on Tuesday, another 20% chance of rain there. Now, speaking of Monday, the College Football Playoff National Championship happens, of course, 2,000 miles away, but I'm pointing this out because, man, we really did not luck out with the weather to travel to LA, right? You usually think California sunny. Well, not for the weekend ahead and into next week. Overcast for Sunday, showers for the game on Monday, and then traveling back from on Tuesday, looking at a high of 60 with an 80% chance of rain there. What's called an atmospheric river is going to be set up over the west coast, so that's the abnormally wet pattern that they see. So expect an abnormally wet trip to California if you're headed out there for the championship game there at SoFi Stadium. Kickoff at 4:30 local time, 7:30 our time. Meanwhile, today we got 40s this morning, 60s later on this afternoon. 68 will be our high temperature. Pretty nice if you ask me. Sunrise is at 7:37. Here's your 7-day forecast. 59 for Friday, 64 on Saturday and Sunday. Again, overcast with a 20% chance of rain on Sunday. And then we'll do that 20% chance of rain again on Tuesday.